And take three.
Take three, we're back.
Let's see.
Waiting on people to get on.
There we go. Share.
All right, good evening. As people start jumping on. And welcome to Wednesday night OWCP Chats with Chris and Gini.
Hi.
Boy, oh boy.
We've had a very long day. We've been doing some fall cleaning and some Jeep reconstruction. He took the top and the doors and all the pieces off the Jeep because the weather's just going to be great just this next couple days in Florida. You know, we could wear boots and scarves and gloves and
It's not going to be
coats.
that cold, but she can do that. Yeah, you know what? Taking the Jeep apart is a lot of fun once it's done, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's an insane amount of work.
Hey, Cam. How are you?
And I had to build this cart, too. I bought this cart, and all the doors and roof and everything goes on it. So first I had to build the cart. Then I got to take the Jeep apart. And then I need help to get it off because I'm just one guy. And once I finally got it all off, then the sun was going down. I had time to go drive it up and down the road one time. I felt like a little boy, I got to be honest with you. It was really fun.
He drove to the beach and back.
Didn't even get on the sand.
No, he didn't. All right, you guys are all Genie and a jacket. Well, you know, I'm freezing, Cam.
I have a little fan on above us, and it's just too much. It's a blizzard.
Kim, you know, it's a little cool in Florida. Like, everybody in Florida is loving the next couple days. We have a cold front.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's been in like 66 to 70 degrees. It's been great, no humidity. So we're loving it. You know, I opened the windows for 2 hours. So,
Yeah.
So today, hi Maureen. Today, while you guys are all hopping on, go ahead and share to your Facebook page, to your group pages and whatnot. Today, we're going to be discussing issues that you guys are having with management and rules and laws they're supposed to follow and kind of don't follow them all the time.
Yeah.
So if you have, whoops, it's upside down. If you have the book, go ahead and Chris will tell you what page he's on so you guys could follow along. And if you haven't gotten the book, you can go to www.breakingowcp.com, $14.95, free shipping. Grab one for your friend or your coworker, your steward. Give it to a management. You know, we heard somebody said that that they gave it to management. We didn't even know. It was so funny.
Well, that's a good idea. The last chapter in here is for management, so in the off chance that they want to read it and learn something, it's there.
Kim, you're still baking with your grandson. Thanks for the tag. I could smell the pumpkin in the house. All right, guys. So, hey, Carol. So again, if you have the book, go ahead and follow along. Chris will tell you what page to follow along from. And again, tonight is the rules and laws that management is supposed to follow. In the meantime, listen to what he says, and I'm going to be sharing this page in the meantime.
Yeah, and again, everyone there, please share. Just hit the share button and get back to the video. That way people in your friends list on Facebook will see that this video is happening. And if any of them are coworkers of yours or have a federal job someplace else, this would be a really good thing for them, as you know, because you're here. Also, go to Twitter. It's at Fed Injury Center, at Fed Injury Center. You can follow there and get a lot of this information from there for free. And be sure you like and follow this page as well, please. We've got like 6,100 people that follow this page, which is really nice. Out of the 2.8 million federal employees, we're not really even scratching the surface. So if you just follow this page, that'd be really awesome. So like she said, tonight I'm going to talk about management as it relates to OWCP, workers' comp for federal employees. And when I wrote this book back during the lockdown, I thought, well, you know, just in case that management might get a hold of this or may be interested or just might be curious about how to do better as being a manager, I wrote a book on management, and the whole book, or the whole chapter, I didn't write a book on management, I wrote a chapter. I did write a book, it's just not this book. This chapter is not all about OWCP, it's also just how to be a good manager, and how to get people motivated to do a good job, and things like that. And so I'm going to put some more stuff in the second book that I'm coming up with about and for management. But here, I've got a chapter on the laws, and I've got a chapter for management. And so what I'm going to do for you tonight, for those of you that don't have the book, I'm sure you will get it. Those of you that do, I'm starting on page 117. I'm only going to be focusing on 3 pages, but these 3 pages are sort of the heart of what managers need to know as it relates to OWCP. So bear with me, because I do want to read some of this, and it's super short. Those of you that have gotten the book already know how short this is and how easy it is to get through. But this particular section, I think, is really important, and I want you to be aware of it so you can tell your managers about it. And say, hey, read this. You're going to offend the heck out of them probably if they think you think they need it, but they need it. So here's where I'm going to start. The bottom of page 117, it says, finally, have you ever heard of the Peter principle? And have you? Have you ever heard that somebody petered out? Well, if you didn't know what that meant, I'm going to tell you. It basically says that organizations have a tendency to promote employees to an eventual point of incompetence. And so, in other words, a person gets promoted to a point where they're no longer capable of doing their job well. They're incompetent. It happens a lot, and what I'll tell you is don't be a Peter. So that was my message to management. Don't be a Peter.
Doesn't sound good.
Yeah, well, that was the whole point. It's not supposed to sound good. It's not a good thing. If you've been promoted from the ranks to become a manager, it's not enough that you were good at your previous job. Now you have this job, and you need to be good at it too. There's no excuse for being a bad manager, and there's tons and tons of bad managers. Pick up a book. Pick up this book. Watch a YouTube video. Get a mentor. Observe what other successful managers do and how they do it. Go to a seminar. Participate in webinars. The world is filled with educational opportunities for managers. You probably got a raise along with your promotion, and you owe it to yourself, to your employees, and to your company to be good at your job as a supervisor. Don't screw it up. So that's a chapter, or a paragraph, in a chapter to managers. That because you get promoted to this place, you owe it to everybody to do better. You're not just there to fill a seat. You're there to accomplish a goal in your operation. So I wanted to tie this back to OWCP, and I've got 15 things here that I'm going to go over that managers should do or should not do. And again, I'm on page 117 and 118 and 119. If managers will do these things, it'll make the lives of all employees so much better. And people are scared to report work injuries, which is really sad to me, because the number one reason claims don't get approved outside of bad doctors, bad narratives, is people not attempting the claim. So it's never going to get approved because you're scared to. And you don't want the negative feedback or the retaliation of some sort from management. And so I want to go through this list. And if people have questions along the way, it's okay if we stop and ask and answer questions. But this list, I think, is pretty complete of the things that supervisors do but shouldn't do when you get hurt at work. And the first thing that I said here is don't refuse to fill out paperwork. So supervisors all too often believe they don't have to. You get hurt and they think they don't have to do anything. No, just take this form and go fill it out yourself. Well, the second page of the form is for them to fill out. They can't refuse to do it. The Code of Federal Regulations specifically says that they have to fill it out. Okay, they have to fill it out, and they have to give you copies of everything. It doesn't say that they fill it out if they have time or if they feel like it, or if they believe that you're actually hurt, because they don't have a medical opinion, because they don't have a medical license. It just says that they shall do it. And so the first thing I would tell managers is don't refuse to fill out paperwork. This is your job. You may not like doing this part of your job, but it's your job. Do your job well.
Some of you are asking where you can find the book. So this is the book. It's called There we go. It's called Breaking OWCP, and all you have to do is go on the website www.breakingowcp.com. That's the only website that you can find the book. It's $14.95, and it's free shipping, and we ship it out the next day, no later than 3 o'clock. And
unless you order on the weekend,
Yeah.
and then I'm kind of stuck with I have to do that on Monday.
Miss Speed, you said I need some major help in relationship to my OWCP case. Please give us a call tomorrow at 877-787-OWCP. In a few minutes, I'm just going to pin the comment at the bottom. So if you guys ask what was the phone number again, give me a minute. I'm going to post it there.
Yeah, and that goes for anybody. If you have a problem with an OWCP case, and if you have an OWCP injury, you have a problem in some way. You might not even know you have problems, but you definitely have them.
There's a Sharon. She said, we were told we would get fired if we filed a claim.
Yeah, well, okay, so Sharon, guess what number 2 on my list is? Right after supervisors don't refuse to fill out paperwork. Number 2 is don't prevent or try to prevent people from reporting and filing work injuries. That's the second thing. Yeah, the supervisors will either say outright, which is insane that they put this in, out there. They'll tell you that you can be fired. I had a supervisor in Alabama who told somebody their best alternative or best option was to resign. Well, that's crap, okay? There's a federal workers' comp system for a reason. Your jobs are hard, you get hurt, and the government takes care of you. They take care of you when all the steps are done right. When the supervisor fills out forms, when you fill out forms, when you fill out employee statements like we talked about last week. By the way, go to my website, breakingowcp.com, click on the free forms tab, and you can get a document that I made for you to help you create an employee statement when you're injured, and a document to help you get a CA-16 so you can have your medical bills paid in the first 60 days, along with a couple of other forms that are free to you. So go ahead and pick those forms up when you're there, because you're going to be there getting the book, and while you're getting the book, get the forms, okay?
Yeah.
Those are really helpful for your situation, regardless of who you are.
Yeah, and if you have the book or our app, or you can even call our number, there's so many ways to find out if a supervisor is telling you the truth or not. So the book, if you have this book and they say that they can't do that, Chris, also, did you put the forms in here, like a CA-10? Copy of the CA-10 in there?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a copy of a CA-10 that it should be on everyone's bulletin board in your break room for all crafts, all agencies. They have to follow what's on that CA-10.
Yeah, and I'll probably upload that to the Breaking OWCP site as well. Right now, you can find a CA-10 on Federal Injury Center's website at federalinjurycenters.com. Sorry, I know, look, we got breakingowcp.com, we got federalinjurycenters.com, we've got Wednesday night OWCP chats on Facebook. There's a lot of places to get the information, Twitter at Fed Injury Center. But you can go to our websites and find these forms. I want to find also, if you'll just give me a second, I'm going to find the laws that we're talking about for supervisors that say they want to fire you for reporting an injury. This is really, really important. Oh, how about that? It's the next chapter.
Stacy, you said, how long does a claim remain open?
As long as you need it to be open, it remains open. As long as your doctor is providing some sort of medical care to you, whether it's, injections or therapies or, I don't even know, okay? I'm not a doctor. If they're just having you back for follow-ups, they just want to check you out. As long as the doctor thinks it's necessary, then it should stay open because that's a medical decision.
Yeah, Tony, you said, what is the OWCP national number? Do you know that off the top of your head?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. You need to let me know. Is it? I don't know if it goes by area. Does it?
Well, the national OWCP number is, you can find it simply by just Googling.
Just Google, yeah.
OWCP.
Sorry about that. We just don't have it at the top of
Yeah,
our...
that's not a phone number I've memorized. All right, so check this out. So a supervisor that says that they want to fire you for reporting an injury.
Pay attention, guys. It's what page? So we can, those of you that have the book.
I'm in chapter 16.
Go to chapter 16, those of you that have the book.
All right, so The employer shall complete the agency portion of the CA1 or CA2 no more than 10 working days after receipt of notice from the employee. The employer shall also complete the receipt of notice and give it to the employee along with copies of both sides of CA1 or CA2. That's the Code of Federal Regulations. So what that said in there is that the employer shall do these things, right? What it doesn't say in there is if you report a work injury, the employer might fire you. They shall fill this stuff out. And so that's really important. Let's see what else. So you have 3 years, by the way. Don't forget that. 3 years to report, and they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, so those of you that have an injury like last year and it's just getting worse and they say that you can't file it because it's been your 30-day or 90-day, that's not true. It's 3 years. Yeah,
so this is actually what I wanted to read to you. It's on page 132. And the top of the page says,
this book.
Now this is really powerful, so check this out. It is a crime to prevent you from filing a work injury claim. If a supervisor says, well, if you file that work injury claim, I'm going to fire you, that supervisor is committing a crime. The Code of Federal Regulations, 20 CFR 10.16, says that a number of statutory provisions make it a crime to file a false or fraudulent claim or statement with the government in connection with a claim, or to wrongfully impede a claim. So to wrongfully impede a claim, according to the Code of Federal Regulations, is a crime. The U.S. Code says whoever induces, compels, or directs an injured employee to forego filing an injury claim shall be fined, imprisoned, or both. Okay? So what do you do if your supervisor says, you want to report an injury, but I'm going to fire you? What I do, if I'm you, is I take my handy-dandy book and I turn to page 132 and I say to my supervisor, wow, it really sounds like you're trying to direct me to not file my claim, and you can go to prison for that. Did you know this law exists?
And if they said that it's not a real law because it's in this book, if you Google it, you will find it, and that goes for OWCP.
Yeah, Google 18 USC 1922. You'll find this word for word. So that's what I love about this book is that you can take it and you can show it to the supervisors. Another thing on threats of termination is OSHA. Mm-hmm. Here's what it says at OSHA, OSHA.gov. It says it's illegal for an employer to fire, demote, transfer, or otherwise retaliate against a worker for using their rights under the law. Well, it's your right to report an injury, and it's illegal for them to fire you as a result of it or for using your rights. And if you think this has happened, then within 30 days of the incident with the supervisor, you call OSHA, 1-800-321-OSHA, and tell them, I'm hurt and my supervisor is not allowing me to exercise my right to report my injury. Do we have a problem? Also, is this a violation?
Right, and always, always, always take a steward with you. A lot of the stewards that we've trained and that have followed this know what we say. Like these laws, it's not like Chris is just pulling it out of his bottom. He's taking it from OWCP's website and putting it in there for you.
Or from the Code of Federal Regulations or from the U.S. Code.
Yeah, and we've asked several state presidents about this and they said it's right. So it's not wrong.
Well, it is right because it's in the law. All you got to do is read it. And your supervisors almost certainly can read in English, and you should ask them if they understand what these means. You know, what does this stuff mean? Because when they do that to you, it's not fair to you. You have a right to get help. And when they scare you into not reporting, you don't get help. You sure as hell don't get the help you need, okay? You get a fraction of what you would have gotten. And then it's hard to get back to work. It's hard to get better and get to a full duty capacity so that you can get back and make it to retirement.
Don't be scared, guys.
Don't be scared. The law's on your side.
We always tell you guys, don't be scared.
Yeah. So I'm going to read a couple more of these. I know that more questions will come through, but remember, it's a list of 15 things. As a recap, I told supervisors to don't refuse to fill out paperwork and don't prevent people from reporting and filing work injuries. Okay, it just kind of seems like basic common sense, but it happens all the time. The third thing says don't harass or degrade people who have been hurt at work. I hear this all the time, that someone's injured and their supervisor will be yelling at them on the workroom floor, cussing at them, just treating them really bad, throwing things at them.
Oh yeah, we've heard that.
It's unbelievably insane. And if this is happening to you, then you need to probably contact EEOC, because their job is to make sure you're treated fairly. Okay, I don't think you're being treated fairly if your supervisor's cussing at you on the workroom floor. I don't think that's okay.
No, it's not.
And file a grievance. Talk to your union and file a grievance. And for those of you that don't want to hear me say file a grievance, plug your ears. File a grievance. File a grievance. File a grievance. File a grievance. Do something. Okay. I've got a chapter in here that's called "Don't Get Bullied." Well, how do you stop getting bullied if you don't fight back? And you have a mechanism of fighting back. Clearly, I don't mean physically fighting. I'm not for that. No violence. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You have the law on your side. You should use it. Number 4, make sure your employees with timely filed CA1 injuries get a CA16. Give employees a CA16.
So, Cynthia, here's Chris is going to answer. You said, I was denied a CA16. What should I do? The union has been no help.
Yeah, well, it may not be because the union doesn't want to help. It may be because the union doesn't understand the rules that apply to the CA16. But the Code of Federal Regulations says that when you're injured with a CA1 injury that happened in a single shift, and you report your injury within 7 days of the injury, that you have a right to get a CA16, and the supervisor is obligated to give it to you within 4 hours of the request. So it's another one of those shall things. The supervisor shall provide you a CA16. It's on a CA10 form. It's a second section of the CA10. It says for supervisors to give you a CA16, and it's in the Code of Federal Regulations that you have a right to have a CA16. How do you get it from your supervisor? Well, a couple of ways. Number 1, file a grievance if they refuse. Okay, they're breaking the rules. The Code of Federal Regulations is very clear about this. I think if it violates the rules, it probably violates your contract with the union. I'd file a grievance. I would sure as hell attempt, to file a grievance. I would probably contact EEO and ask them if it's a violation. I don't know if it is, but they have counselors standing by to talk to you. You can just call them. And, am I being treated fairly that I'm not getting the forms that the law says I should get when I'm injured? And then the other thing I want you to do is, like I said, go to breakingowcp.com and go to the free downloads tab. And there's a form for how to get a CA16. These are not official OWCP forms. These are forms that I created after hearing all the problems that you guys have. And so it's going to be helpful to you. But what it's got is the law. And so you fill out everything perfectly on the form. You hand it to the supervisor. And you say, look here, you have 4 hours to give it to me. This is the Code of Federal Regulations. It says so. And there's nowhere in the rules that says if a supervisor doesn't think it's serious, you don't have to get one. Or if the supervisor doesn't know how to find one, you don't get one. That's not an excuse. Find one, okay? So you have every right to have it. And how do you get one is by using the law. And that's what this book was for, is so you can have this ammunition when you need it.
Somebody said, I think her name was Tona Ferrari. Sorry if I pronounced her name.
I hope it's Ferrari.
Wrong. She said, I was told by my supervisor I would be fired if I filed a claim.
I think you should contact OSHA. If that was within 30 days, within the last 30 days, contact OSHA.
That's so sad.
Because I read the law, like they violated what OSHA says, that it's a crime to prevent you from exercising your rights, and one of your rights, and by the way, OSHA has a list of rights, and one of the rights that they list in bullet point is the right to report and file a work injury. So tie it together. It's a crime to prevent you from exercising your rights, and one of the rights that they define is to report an injury. So contact OSHA, because it sounds like a violation. I don't think you have to call and make an accusation. You just have to tell the truth. And when you get on the phone, 1-800-321-OSHA, when you get to whoever you need to get to, you just tell the truth. Tell what happened. I was injured. I requested to report an injury, and my supervisor threatened to fire me. Here's what the supervisor said. Here's the supervisor's name. Is that a violation?
Yep.
Just ask questions. Is that a violation? And tell the truth. The truth is always okay.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it.
Suzanne, you asked, can you file a CA2 and a CA1 at the same time?
Sure. If you have a CA2 claim that happened over a period of time, and today you also got hurt on the job, and you have two things happening, you can have two different claims going at the same time. It's no problem.
Christopher Zupin, you said the union usually doesn't know what they're doing when it comes to OWCP claims. Unfortunately, this has been my experience too. So we can and will provide training right now, even via Skype or Zoom. We can provide the training for you guys if you want help with that. So we do this nationwide all year long. It's just we have been limited because of COVID.
And this just occurred to me tonight, so I really appreciate the feedback from everybody here, that in my second book, which is still only about halfway finished, I need to really get on it, I just realized I'm going to add a chapter that's a steward training. Because there, just like there are things for managers, there's things for stewards. And I think if the stewards have the basics of this, that they'd be, a better advocate for you when you're injured. And so I'll probably put some things in there that are just my opinion, but my opinion probably matters more than most others on this topic. And so I'll probably just tell you exactly what I think. If I was a steward, what would I do?
Yeah.
And I might even just name the chapter. If I was a steward, what would I do? And then we'll just go. So I'm going to go down a couple more on the list.
Carol, real quick, contact the phone number down below tomorrow. We could help you with your issue.
So I said, don't refuse to fill out paperwork. Don't prevent people from reporting their injuries. Don't harass and degrade people who have been injured. Give people a CA-16. And the fifth thing is let people choose their own doctors. This is another thing. The rules are very clear that you have the right to choose your own doctor. That the supervisor cannot appoint a doctor for you, and they can't get in the way of your choice of doctor. It's your right. It's written in the laws in like 3 different places that are in this book. And so when you want to choose your own doctor, just choose your own doctor. It doesn't matter. Now, I recommend that you choose a good one. That, I also talk about in the book the categories of doctors you got to be wary of and how to select a good doctor. But the key is it's your right. If you choose to take the supervisor's recommendation, that's okay because that's your choice. But if you choose not to, that's okay too. Nobody can do anything about it. And I had a guy once who chose his own doctor, and the supervisor called him into the office, and it doesn't matter what agency this was. I'm not even going to say it because it happens at all the agencies. And the supervisor said, you went around me and picked your own doctor, and now I'm going to have to fire you. And so that person's union president called me and said, Chris, this is urgent. So-and-so is in front of the supervisor, and here's what they just said. And I said, all right, no problem. Let me send you a screenshot from something that I have on Twitter at Fed Injury Center. So the supervisor knows what they just did is a big no-no.
Yeah.
And then show this. And so I texted over. She got it over to the person who was sitting in front of the supervisor, and the person said, wait, you're going to fire me? But what about this law that says you can't do that?
Yep.
And so the supervisor said, oh, well,
I wasn't really
going to actually fire you. Yeah, I was just upset. And I'm like, you're damn right. Nobody's getting fired today. And so, but when you know the rules, you're able to protect yourself. When they threaten to fire you, there's things you can do about it, like calling OSHA. So, but choosing your own doctor is your right. Choose wisely, but know that nobody can force you to any doctor or prevent you from going to any doctor. That includes nurse case managers, too. One of the things I see happen more and more is nurse case managers going rogue. Now, I don't like to badmouth the nurse case managers because they have a really valuable role, and they don't all go rogue. But we've had some nurse case managers that walk into the doctor's office and say, you can't be here, come to this other doctor. Well,
they do that.
There's nowhere in the rules for this. I called Eric one day, Eric Blauer's a lawyer, and I said, Eric, where in the rules does it say that a nurse case manager can do this? And it was rhetorical, meaning I knew the answer already. Mm-hmm. And he basically answered accordingly. You know the answer already. There's nothing in the rules. So know your rights and stand your ground. If you've chosen a doctor, stick to that doctor if you like the doctor. If you don't, change doctors. But don't be bullied. Like the book says, don't be bullied. Stop being bullied. Don't be bullied by case managers, by claims examiners, by doctors, by supervisors. Don't be bullied by anybody, okay? Stand up for yourself using the law, and you'll be better off as a result. The sixth thing is issue CA-17s when they're requested. I have supervisors over and over and over saying, I'm not going to give you a duty status report, a CA-17. And so I tell people, tell the truth. Okay, someone along the way is going to ask you why Side A is not filled out, which is the supervisor's side. And Side A is supervisor. Where do you think it initiates? Side A? Yeah, with the supervisor. So I say, look, someone's going to ask you why Side A isn't filled out. Why'd you break the rules and use a CA-17 that didn't initiate with management? So you take a black Sharpie and you tell the truth. And you say, my supervisor refused to give me this. Write the supervisor's name. Make him famous.
Yes.
But you have to do what it takes to protect you. Don't be bullied. And so your doctor needs to fill out Side B in order to write restrictions to keep you safe if you need restrictions, or to take you off of work if you need to be off of work, or to send you back to work, okay? And so if the supervisor refuses to do their job, you have to tell the truth as to why that half of the page is blank. This is not an attempt to get people in trouble, although it should. It's just an attempt to explain what happened. Tell the truth always. If they don't like it, they can start issuing CA-17s as they should. I'm being told to speed up. Are there more questions?
Lots.
Okay, let me just roll through these. Number 7, turn in paperwork on time. Okay, you have deadlines, so supervisors need to meet the deadlines. Missing deadlines is uncalled for.
It's your responsibility, too, to make sure you reach those deadlines that are supposed to be met by you as well.
Yeah, never miss deadlines. Don't allow deadlines to be met, period. Supervisors have 10 days to turn your stuff into DOL when you get injured. Number 8, don't screw with people's pay. Can I get an amen? Don't screw with people's pay. So when they fill out the CA-7 form, they have to fill out the second page. Don't screw with your compensation. Fill that form out correctly and get it in on time. And they have 5 days to get it in once it's turned into them. Ask some questions.
Martiza Rodriguez, you said you had an OWCP case and you're in Puerto Rico and you want to know when we're going to be in Clearwater. We live in Clearwater, so if you come down from Puerto Rico, message me privately and I will get Andrew from the office to give you a call, and we'll come and meet with you and give you some brochures and stuff to take back to Puerto Rico.
Yep.
Kelly said,
and get your address so we can come stay with you next time we're there.
Yeah. Kelly said, doctor said it could take a year to get approval for surgery. What do I do in the meantime? Major musculoskeletal issues.
Well, so if your doctor says it can take a year to get approval for surgery, that means your doctor has done something terribly wrong. If your diagnosis is something that would be surgical, then it takes 3 days to get approval for surgery. Now, how many days is a year? 365, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It should take 3. If your doctor has the correct diagnosis, let's say that you have been diagnosed, and it's a back injury, with a lumbar strain. That's your approved condition. But your doctor has seen the imaging, right? You've got an MRI, and it shows that you've got a bad herniated disc. And it's an emergency, right? It's so bad that it's touching the nerves, and you can't walk, and you sure as heck can't lift anything. But the approved condition was a strain or a sprain. They're never going to approve your surgery, ever, no matter what, until you get a diagnosis expansion to include the herniation. So if your doctor's having a hard time getting approval, it's because your doctor has done a poor job of getting the correct diagnosis. So that's what you need. It should not take a year. It should take days. Mm-hmm. Because the Department of Labor allows treatment that's necessary based on the condition that's approved. So, like if you have a broken finger, they'll give you a splint, right? Because it's broken. It's automatic. You got a jacked up knee, they'll give you a knee brace because you need it. And if you have a blown disc and has been proven and diagnosed, they'll give you surgery automatically. Okay, so that was a good question.
Tony wants to know how long it takes for an injured person to receive notice that his or her claim has been approved or denied.
Yeah, that's a tricky one because there's no rules that give claims examiners a timeline to get things done. When you talk to the claims examiner, they'll say they have 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. They'll just make something up. But just know they're just making it up.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a lot of them, or a lot of you and a few of them, and so they get behind. And some of them are working from home right now, a lot of them probably. And I'm sure that things at home get in the way of doing the job faster. And so you've got to call your claims examiner as often as you feel comfortable to ask them the status and, request that they just hurry the heck up.
Here's a good question. Christina says, do you have pointers for union reps who want employees to file but don't? I have been having trouble with people to begin with filing. And this goes for stewards as well that are there to help.
Yeah, the number one thing I would say to a steward that thinks someone should file an injury so they can get help. I'm sorry, if you hear noise in the background, it's only because we have teenagers that love to play video games at full speed, full blast volume. Anyways, where was I? Oh, stewards. So the number one thing they can do is know the rules. When they know the rules, then they can put someone at ease. If someone came to me and said, I'm scared to report an injury, I would know exactly what to tell them. I'd say, well, here's the rules. Take this with you and report your injury. Everything will be fine. But if you don't, everything won't be fine. Okay? So that would be the number one pointer that I have. And in my next book, I'll have something in there on this to help stewards, answer that question and others.
Yeah, we keep telling you guys, keep telling them not to be scared. Everybody, when we first started this, all we kept hearing was, we're scared, we're going to get fired, we're scared, we're going to get fired. I mean, we heard it all the time at all the conventions, all the union meetings, and I guess after we started educating them more, they started realizing that there's ways to go around being scared. And when the supervisors and management tells you that you can't file your claim.
Yeah.
So number one thing, don't be scared.
And I'm not, as I sit here right now, and every other day before this, I've never been an advocate just saying, hey, everyone report injuries. Just report all the injuries you can report. That's not the deal at all. I want you to be truthful. If you truthfully were injured, report it.
Yeah, report it. They can't tell you.
That's the bottom line. Just take care of yourself. Don't be bullied. Take care of yourself.
This is the last one question I'll answer, and so Chris can finish up those. Christopher Zupin said they denied my IME because he's a doctor of chiropractic medicine and not an MD or a DO. Yet he is qualified to do state work comp. I can't find literature anywhere supporting this. Any advice?
Yeah, there actually is plenty of literature about that. The Code of Federal Regulations specifically says about chiropractors that they can do adjustments if a diagnosis of subluxation exists. They can read x-rays because that's definitely well within their scope. And they can do services in the nature of physical therapy as long as it is supervised and directed by a medical doctor or a DO, which is an osteopathic doctor. But it doesn't allow, the code doesn't allow for chiropractors to be treating doctors. You can be in a chiropractor's office all day long. It doesn't matter because they may have an MD there or a nurse practitioner or a PA. Or you may just be there doing physical therapy and they're allowed to do physical therapy. But they're not allowed to be your doctor of record. They can't sign anything except for physical therapy notes that for treatment they did. And they can do narrative reports explaining a subluxation so they can do adjustments for you.
And remember, state work comp and federal work comp is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
So make sure that the doctor understands that, because some doctors are just credentialed for state work comp and they're not credentialed for federal work comp. So there's two different things here.
And another thing about state workers' comp, in a lot of states, like I'm from Texas, and in Texas, the state workers' comp program wrote a law back in 2007 that said who could be a treating doctor. They didn't say chiropractors can't be treating doctors. They didn't do that to them. Instead, they just defined and didn't put them in the definition. And so in some states, chiropractors can't even be the treating doctor in state workers' comp.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they can't treat patients. It doesn't mean they can't be involved in care. It just means the MD's got to be the treating doctor. And that's the case for federal workers' comp.
And Laura says, what if the manager says, if you file, I'm going to contest it?
Yeah, hey, that's okay. Check it out. So the second page of the CA1 has questions that management can answer. And they can say that they disagree with your statements, or that it's not, it didn't happen in the performance of duty. They have questions that they answer. There's like 4 of them on the back, on the second page of the CA1. Let them do it. If they want to contest it, let them contest it. Who cares? Because in the end, a doctor who writes a great narrative will have the overwhelming evidence in your favor and will win. And when supervisors don't tell the truth on those CA1 forms and they write false statements, that's a crime. Remember, we talked about that a second ago. So they have to tell the truth. And if they don't tell the truth, their butt's on the line. So if you're right and you know it's work-related, let them have at it. Because God forbid they knowingly put something false on that form, they're going down. That's fines and imprisonment. And so don't worry about it. If they say they're going to contest it, let them.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Again, it goes back when we tell you, take a union rep, take a steward, take a witness with you so you're not alone with them. Sometimes that's the best thing to do, unfortunately.
Yeah. But, that stuff happens. Supervisors will sometimes contest it. And, that's a real jerk move. But, hey, whatever. You fill out the forms properly, truthfully, and everything will work out. Don't worry about it. You tell the truth. Don't worry about anything else.
Yeah, report it that it's bullying or whatever tactic they're doing, and you do have a right to file your claim, no matter what.
And that was a really timely question because I'm on number 10 out of 15 of the things for supervisors, and number 10 says be 100% truthful when filling out OWCP forms. So I would tell any supervisor, if you're going to fill the form out, and you are going to fill it out, we talked about that, you better tell the truth. Be clear and truthful. Because if you don't, you can be at risk of some serious trouble. And you don't want that. So Be honest.
Yes.
Number 11, go out of your, this is for supervisors, okay? Go out of your way to find limited duty assignments when needed. Go out of your way to do your job, okay? When a person brings in a CA-17 and the doctor has said, hey, they can work. They can work 4 hours a day. They can work 8 hours a day. They can work with limited restrictions. They can't stand all day. They can't lift above however many pounds, whatever. Go out of your way to find limited duty. Here, let me tell you why. Because when you work as a supervisor, I'm talking to supervisors, when you work in your employee's best interest, that will be rewarded back to you by the employee working hard to get back, working hard to get to full duty, okay? By not calling in sick and, not giving you a hard time as a supervisor, because what comes around goes around. So don't be a jerk. And you're more likely to get cooperation and really high production from people just because you weren't an idiot and a jerk. So don't be those two things.
Yeah, like Maureen says, that's harassment, and you need to file an EEO claim and file a grievance.
Yeah, hey, thank you. She said that, but I absolutely agree.
Yep.
Number 12, no retaliation whatsoever. None. That's the whole thing. Even none. No retaliation whatsoever. None. Period. If someone has a work injury, that's how it goes, okay? Do your job. But if you start, giving them crappy shifts or trying to send them 60 miles to another job for a limited duty assignment, and
we've seen that.
Which it happens all the time.
Happened here. We know
and,
that.
You start telling people, well, we don't have any work for you to do, so just go sit in that empty room over there all day long. Don't pull that crap, okay? Don't retaliate because you're going down for that. You're not allowed to retaliate against people who have work injuries. Almost finished. Number 13, to the supervisors, learn the rules. Stop making us tell you the rules. Learn them yourself. Supervisors, grab this book if you want to, learn the important rules, but learn the rules.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw, I pinned the comment below where to buy the book right there, and the phone number.
Yeah. All right, just two more things here. But these are really important, okay? I didn't save the least important for last, okay? These are good. 14, don't discuss people's private health information with anyone else. We see it all the time. We hear people saying, my supervisor is telling people about my work injury.
Yeah.
They're telling them about my diagnosis or about my restrictions on my CA-17, which is a medical form. Don't do that. If you want to get the trust of your people, then be trustworthy. And if you're sharing their private information, they'll never trust you, okay? And you're breaking the rules.
And the supervisors do not, or management doesn't have a right to call your doctor.
No, in fact, the rules tell them not to.
Yeah, they don't have a right to call your doctor and get information. So when you sign your who can give information to, that's it. If you give it to the supervisor, then that's you.
Yeah.
But 99.9% of the time, nobody wants anybody to know about it, and nobody should know unless you tell them personally.
I could have made that the 16th point here because that's a really good one. The rules specifically tell supervisors not to call the doctor. Just don't. They can't have a conversation with your doctor outside of your knowledge.
There's a HIPAA violation there. That's another thing that comes into play. And we spoke to one of the state presidents, and he said when things like that keep happening, and it just continuously happens, you need to contact Department of Justice. That's when they get involved, because you're talking about HIPAA and you're talking about, personal information that somebody could, not really want someone to know what's really going on with them.
Yeah, and so supervisors don't have a right to anything except for like a CA-17 and a CA-20. Those are filled out by the doctor, and they can be filled out at the supervisor's request. They can request that, and that's okay. That's what they get to know about. They don't get your medical records, and they don't get to talk about it. All right, here's the last thing I've got, and this one's my favorite. It's have some compassion, because one day the injured person could just be you.
And that's for the supervisors.
Because we've seen management get hurt. They can be hurt too. And have some compassion, because that what comes around goes around thing, man, you don't want this to be the thing that comes around and goes around,
We know supervisors that are being treated currently, and after they wind up getting treated, then they realize how hard the process was.
Yeah.
And the time, like all the travel time and all the rules, and that's when they have compassion. And then by then it's too late for some of you to even forgive the supervisor.
Now, I just want to read this last sentence, and I'm going to be done with the book for tonight, but it's not the last sentence, but it's a sentence in this chapter, and it's important. It says, when your employees feel loved, and I'm talking to supervisors, when your employees feel loved and respected, they will absolutely crush it for you. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, there's no love coming from management. They're just like taskmasters and jerks and a-holes. And that's the wrong way to do management. That's not how you do management, okay? You didn't just get put in this seat. Do your job. And the number one thing to do your job is love people. Treat them with respect. And it's amazing what you'll get in return.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, what are the other questions?
Alexander Spain says, hi, can you speak to the DOL coming and going rules?
I'm not really sure what you're referring to. Good. Sorry. I'd like to, but not sure what you mean.
EEO for Postal Service is a joke. Josephine, we hear that, we understand that, but, never give up and keep trying though. Don't give up on that. Just because you feel that it's not working, keep pushing. I think it's important that you use everything at your disposal. And if EEO is one of those things, I think you should do it, even if you feel like it's a waste of time. It should be done. At least eventually enough people will file an EEO on the same thing, on the same topic for the same supervisor. And then somebody at EEO will be like, wait a minute, we're getting a lot of calls because of this guy or this woman. So just do it. If it's a valid EEO complaint to file, you should. Yeah. Carol says, how long do they, excuse me, how long do they have to fill out forms after you tell them you have been injured?
Well, they have to fill it out and give it back to you, okay? And they have 10 days to turn that into Department of Labor, 10 working days. So to get it turned in, they have 10 days from the date that, you told them that you're hurt and you started filling it out yourself.
Carol Meadows says, I need this. Get bullied because I'm a senior carrier in my office as well as a whistleblower. 3 years ago from attendance fraud, and nothing happened to the supervisor and postmaster, was reassigned for 1 year and returned 2 weeks before me after dealing with cancer. I have to always be on my toes and can't make any mistakes. Oh, God.
Yeah. In my Don't Be Bullied chapter, I've got file grievances, I've got EEOC, I've got OSHA. Yeah, that's what I've got. Those are things you have to do. Like when management is breaking the rules, when they're doing things bad, you can't let them get away with it. And just, no matter what, you just can't. The more they push and you don't push back, the more you're going to get pushed. And when I say push back, I mean using the rules. Don't go push people. Don't get physically violent. But, no, I'm really serious about that.
Yeah, don't.
Don't ever mistake what I'm saying as a call to violence. I'm the last guy in the world that would tell you that. I just mean use the rules.
Yeah.
Use everything at your disposal and push back. And that's not because you're trying to be a jerk. It's because you don't get bullied.
Correct.
And you're just taking care of yourself, and you have a right to.
Stacy McIntyre says, how do you prove carpal tunnel?
Well, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the answer to that medically. I know that there are tests. I think there are like nerve conduction studies and things like that. But your doctor will be able to do that. That's really a medical question. I like the question, how do you prove it? Because that's the whole ball game. Like if you can prove carpal tunnel and link it to the job, you can get your claim accepted. So it's a great question. It just needs to be asked to your medical doctor.
Carol says, what was the OSHA number again?
1-800-321-OSHA. I think it's like the easiest number in the world to memorize because it's 321 OSHA.
Rebecca said, our steward said injury is not a part of the steward job.
That may be.
Yeah, everybody's different. Each craft is different with the steward.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we've done a lot of union training, a lot of it over the years. And there are some agencies and crafts that we go into where it's not just something that the stewards do, they want to do it. And the presidents are requesting us to train the stewards on
steward
it.
training.
And they want it really bad. And then there's other unions, and I'm not going to use any of the names, okay, I'll be cool tonight. I don't want to, but there are some unions who their stewards just say, look, this is not my job. Do it yourself. Well, okay, I think I could say to those stewards, well, gosh, it's all fun and games until it's you that's hurt.
Yeah.
And I'll bet you sure want somebody to help you then. But you know what? If you're in one of those unions, by the way, where it's, as a steward, not your job, I would highly encourage you to get this book and learn it anyways. Because, you know what? Be a good friend to somebody, at least. People need the help. It's one of the big problems. There's not enough help. I'm one person, and there's 2.8 million of you. You know, I'd like to help you all myself, but it's more effective if I can train a bunch of people that will also be able to help you. And so, you know, I'm out training doctors. I'm training case managers in my office, you know, my staff. I'm training you right here. You know, I'm just trying to get as many people as possible. But it's really great when you have a powerful steward who understands this stuff and is willing to go to bat for you. Like Al, you know, our friend here in Florida. That guy, I mean, he knows the rules as good as I do. I learned a lot of my stuff from him.
Yeah.
He's
awesome.
Spectacular, and he refuses to lose at this stuff. And his stewards definitely will step up and take a swing at this. So,
and in Alabama, the mail handler and the APWU they're stewards. We did training for them, and I'll tell you, they are kick-ass.
Yeah, they're powerful.
They are. And each one of them is military, so you don't mess with them.
Yeah, that's what I love that about the federal workforce, though. There's so many veterans in the federal workforce, and so I think that there's a predisposition to not getting screwed, but still so many people do. So anyways, I could go on and on about that. I want you to not get bullied anymore, and I want you to use roles, and I want you to know you have some, and if you're not sure what role it is, you can get the book, and if you don't want to do that, you can just call and ask. And I'll tell you what role they're violating, and you can use it.
Okay, Juana Rivas says, what if I never received a CA-16? My case was approved, but the doctor that I was sent, the nurse they provided me sent me to this doctor. He seems to don't understand my duties as a mail carrier. He says he put me on limited duty, but according to my manager, I can do my regular duties as a mail carrier. My back is hurt and burns at the same time. I haven't had any treatment.
All right, so there's a couple of things to unfold here. All right, so first you said CA-16. You didn't get it. It's too late. I'm sorry. It's just too late. But on the manager says that you can definitely do your job. If your doctor has written restrictions on a CA-17, a duty status report, then your manager doesn't have an opinion that will overrule a doctor. So you follow the restrictions of the doctor, period. And your managers don't have the right to overrule the doctors. That's what this form is for. And that was one of the things on my list of 15 things is that, follow the CA-17. Just do what the doctor tells you to do and go out of your way to find limited duty within those restrictions. But don't ever let a manager tell you, no, you can do this. You can definitely do this job. Because what do they know? Show me your medical license, please. And you don't have one.
We used to teach that, we still do. We say if the management or supervisors tell you anything about medical stuff and you're not injured, ask them for their medical license. And we had a few people, remember we went to the union meeting, they said that they actually asked, let me see your medical license.
Yeah.
We were cracking up at the union meeting because they actually took that advice and the management just backed down. So
now I don't. Again, I don't. Just like I don't encourage violence. I also don't encourage you to have unnecessary problems with management because God knows you got enough as it is. And sometimes a sarcastic remark like "Show me your medical license" could be taken as sarcasm.
Yeah.
But if it applies,
hey, you can try it.
Yeah.
Juana, you can call the 877 number down below right here. anytime after 8 a.m. in the morning.
Versus 8 a.m. in the evening.
Yeah.
I like to keep my a.m.s in the morning, but...
Did I say p.m.?
You said 8 a.m. in the morning. It was just fun.
Oh, God. I'm not with it.
I like all of my a.m.s to be in the morning.
Half my office go to the same doctor or management. Be upset asking who told you to go to that doctor.
I don't understand.
It says half my office is going to the same doctor management. Be upset asking, and they're upset asking who told you to go to that doctor.
Yeah, okay, so...
You have the right.
So who told you to go to that doctor is actually a common question. I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
It's like I try to tell you here, you've heard me say it, on this page, we're not a referral service. Like, I'm never going to tell you what doctor to go to, choose for yourself. But if someone tells you, hey, there's this doctor down here, you should call him, and you do, that you're right. If your manager says, who told you to go to that doctor? Who cares what the answer is? It was my choice to go. If my friend told me, my union steward told me, my union president told me, I found it on the web, I saw an ad for it, I watched this Wednesday night chats, I bought a book and it said a name of a clinic on it. There's really no wrong answer. You get to go wherever you want to go. The only way it's wrong is if there's money exchanged for you to go to that doctor. And then there's all kinds of laws being broken. So don't do any of that stuff. But you can go for any reason. Who cares? You went.
Melissa Casey said, my supervisor is having me come in next week for an investigation interview for work absence while I'm under a doctor's care with work restrictions. Manager said I cannot work with restrictions until my case has been approved and it has been sent to OWCP for reconsideration.
Yeah, I hear that all the time.
Can she do this?
Yeah, but you need to take a union steward with you or a union rep of some sort. Don't go to an investigative interview alone. I think that there's all kinds of traps that could be set there.
Stacy wants to know, I was denied for surgery because they stated it wasn't a part of the original injury, but the DMA agreed it was a part of it. How do I fix this?
Well, you personally can't fix it, but your doctor can fix it by writing a narrative report explaining why it should have not been denied. You have to do a reconsideration of it.
Martiza said, believe me, you guys would have a blast with me in Puerto Rico, even through this pandemic. I promise. Sun all year round. I privately messaged you guys now.
Yeah. So there's no question that we would have a good time there.
He would.
Especially this part of because there's a couple of things I love. I like beaches, I like sun, and I like fun. And I think all of those things can be done simultaneously in a place like Puerto Rico.
Kim Davis said, do you know my situation? No eye specialist that accepts OWCP. Do I use my insurance and submit for reimbursement? Currently, my OWCP worker, Jason, who, by the way, is great, is looking for a doctor for me. Good! Yeah,
you can go to any doctor and keep track of your bills and get reimbursed. I would just call your claims examiner in advance and get some confirmation, like a pre-authorization that they'll pay it, Otherwise, you're going to be out of pocket. You're going to send this thing in, this OWCP 915, with your receipts, okay?
Yeah.
So I just get authorization in advance. They'll do that. They'll give you authorization. And then that way, when you turn it in, you'll definitely be reimbursed.
Terry Morrow says, claims examiner says I cannot change doctors. I'm not the original doctor sending me to a specialist.
So the claims examiner is saying you can't change doctors. Go to breakingowcp.com to the free downloads tab, and I've got a form to help you change treating doctors. It's not foolproof. Nothing is 100%. But take a look at it. It's got some rules in there, and it'll help you determine whether or not you can write a letter to request a change. Okay, so grab that.
See, what Maureen said is right. That's why monthly steward training meetings are important, so we can know how to do these things. So again, if you guys want any type of training, we get really in depth, and Chris has put a great presentation just for stewards to back your coworkers up and to stand by them and protect them.
Yeah.
Let us know, message me, and we could do a Zoom training or a Skype steward training.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to do it. I really enjoy live training events with people, and I would definitely do it on Zoom if I had to. I prefer to be live and in person, but I understand we have some constraints here with this pandemic.
Matt Hayes say they have a lot of reasons to convert your claim to go by that they can only go by. True.
Yeah.
They usually contest claims anyway. You'll see if you have to ask for copies of what you sent, which is within your right to do so. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, the code says that you have a right to copies of everything, so just get it.
Dawn said, telling the truth about everything in life is always right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like everyone should just live by that, obviously, just tell the truth. But in this case, like in the case of OWCP, it's overwhelmingly successful is when you tell the truth. If you just say what happened, you're going to win. You know, if it's truthful, you'll win.
Yeah.
You'll get your claim accepted. You know, just tell the truth. Everyone should do that.
I don't know why I'm making funny faces. I have something in this eye, and it's bothered me. So if you see me doing that, it's because I'm trying to, like, blink it out. That's the only reason I'm making
You can't
funny
get rid
faces.
of what's in those eyes.
There's something on my contact.
You can't get rid of that kind of beauty.
So that's why I keep doing this, and I'm like, you know, because I'm trying to, like, let it move. That's why I'm at. Just bought the book. Thank you, Carrie.
So I don't think she heard me, and I am that kind of suck up. You cannot get rid of that kind of beauty. You can't get it out of those eyes.
Aw,
right, go
you're
ahead.
so sweet.
Now people like Matt are going to give me a hard time. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Violating the HIPAA Act.
Yeah, it's a no-no. Don't do it.
Let's see. Kim Davis says supervisors do it daily and comment that the injury is fake. Other carriers even posted on Facebook. Hey, I see it all the time on the Facebook groups about people asking for help. I don't jump in because I know you guys comment my name because he's never on Facebook, but I comment. You guys will comment my name and I'll just say, hey, give us a call, or I'll post, watch us on Wednesday night. We have all the videos. If you go under our Wednesday night, Facebook page, go under videos, and all of it is listed there. Everything you want to know is on our videos, and go back and watch it, about how to get your claim accepted, everything in OWCP. Matt says they broke that in my 2011 injury. Called my doctor and pressured him to send me back to work. He's scared, thinking the federal government was coming after him.
Well, okay, so I don't know who called. Supervisors shouldn't call. Claims examiners can. So can nurse case managers. But I tell this to doctors too, because as most of you know, I train doctors for a living. I tell doctors, listen, you fill out a CA-17. Okay, fill it out to the best of your knowledge, the best of your ability. You have options like functional capacity testing, where you can actually physically test somebody to see if they can physically do the job. You can use that test to fill out your CA-17. If you're keeping people off of work because they genuinely can't do the job, you're not going to get in trouble. But if you keep people off of work because they want to be off of work, which almost never happens, but if you don't have a good reason to have someone off of work, send them back.
Yeah.
And that goes for limited duty, full duty, whatever. But doctors shouldn't worry about being in trouble for keeping you off of work as long as it's a legit reason.
They're not coming after
Again,
them.
if you just tell the truth, if it's just truthful, and you have a good reason, everything's fine.
Alexander Spain said, I tripped and broke my arm in the parking lot before my shift started.
That's a covered injury.
A lot of you don't know that.
It's covered. If you're in the parking lot and you trip in the parking lot, it's covered. It's covered, okay? If you showed up to work like 8 hours early, probably it's not covered. But if you showed up within half an hour because you want to clock in on time, that's totally covered. I wouldn't worry about it. Fill out the form.
Angela Payton said, can an OWCP nurse assigned to your case go to your doctor appointment to find out what's going on, or is that a violation of your privacy?
No, that's actually in their job description. They communicate with the doctor. Now, if I'm you, I would want it to be where the nurse case manager is there when I'm there, because I want to hear what's going on too. I think your doctor will like that as well, because it's less work for them, because they can just see the nurse manager while you're there at the same time instead of seeing you and then seeing her. It's okay for them to do it. If they start getting in the way of your progress or they're not working in your best interest, then you might have to, exercise your right to replace them.
Yeah.
But as long as they're doing their job and working in your best interest, it's okay that they talk to the doctor. That's in their job description.
See, I like what Josephine said here. She said, you don't have to discuss anything with management as far as anything having to do with your medical status or when you are returning to work if you have a furnished CA-17 and that's all you need.
She's right.
She's right.
100%. Unless they want a CA-20, which is fine. Okay, it's just like it's a form for the doctor to fill out to sort of describe your progress and stuff. It's okay. But that's really all they need. They don't have a right to know anything else.
Vicky, the question that you're asking is more for your post office. We wouldn't know that. Valerie Miller said an earlier post from a rural letter carrier on Facebook stated that he resigned 1 year before eligible for retirement, yet got benefits a year later. True?
I mean, I don't know. Resigning a year before retirement, I don't know what the implications are in getting benefits. I don't know. That's kind of outside of my scope of knowledge.
Yeah. Dawn said, I bought a couple awesome books and gifted them to my steward. Great.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And I hope it works for them.
Yeah. Stacy says, is there a list of doctors that are providers for OWCP on the web?
That's so funny. I was just talking to a doctor in Washington State trying to get him to join the franchise. And I said, there's almost no doctors. There's probably no doctors in your state that want to help these patients when they get hurt, or employees, you people, that want to help you. And so you're not going to have really any competition. This could be a really great business for you as well. And you can help a lot of people. He texts me later and he says, well, there's this list there's thousands of doctors listed. So I was still right and he was wrong. However, what they have is a provider search portal, okay? And you can search OWCP provider search, okay? Yeah. And on Google. But what you're going to find is a list of doctors that don't want to help you. A list of doctors that are listed there and don't know why they're listed there. Or they wish they weren't listed there. Yeah. Or they tried this OWCP thing and it didn't work for them because they did such a bad job. So you got this numerous reasons why doctors don't want you. But you can go down 10 pages of doctors and not find a single one that wants to help you. So how do you find one? You search on Google. That's the best way to find a doctor. OWCP injury doctor in your city and state. It's a long search. It'll catch everybody that actually wants to help you. It's OWCP injury doctor in your city and state. See what search results you get on Google before you go to that terrible search portal. It's awful. Nobody likes it. Everyone has said, why did I go there? It's awful.
Yeah, we were helping Dr. Harper in Alabama, one of our Federal Injury Center's doctors, find an orthopedic surgeon. Chris called 11 doctors from that list that he was telling you on the web bill processing center
before I found one that would say yes.
To find one. They have no clue that they're even on there.
Yeah,
because
why am I listed there? I don't want to be there.
Their billing person just said, okay, you're a doctor, we're credentialing you A to Z insurance, and DOL was D.
It's hard to find a doctor in this that wants to help, but that Google search that I gave you is the best way, because at least if there's one that wants to help, you'll find them right away, okay? And if you don't find anybody there, you can always resort to that crappy search tool.
Yeah. Cynthia Hudgens said, my claim was denied, but I filed an appeal, reconsideration, thanks to you.
Good job. Good job.
Management has given me trouble since the denial. I'm still being treated, sitting at home with no pay. Doctor has returned me to work with a weight restriction. Postmaster says he can't accommodate my restrictions.
So your union should be helping you. They should be helping you. Okay, your claim isn't accepted, so they think they don't have to help you. But not your union, but your management. But your union should be helping you with this. Also, if you need to take time off of work, don't forget that you have Family Medical Leave Act, FMLA, where you can be away and it'll protect your job if you have to be off of work. So if you use FMLA, it'll protect your job. Other than that, you need to get your claim accepted. That's so critical. And obviously, when I say that, I'm like, gosh, I can't believe I'm even saying that. But it's obvious. You do need to do it, which means your doctor, with your reconsideration, needs to write a terrific narrative report explaining why this claim should be approved. And then it will be. Hang in there.
LaShawn Prince said, tried since 2018, yet case has been denied again after going to 2 of the doctors you recommended from you. Feeling a little bummed right now because last denial was for my narrative being submitted after a 1-year mark. We'll still listen because you guys give good advice. You guys have to remember that if you're trying to get into a doctor that you need a deadline, don't wait for like 2 months and call the doctor.
And
try to get in quick.
We're not saying that's what this person did.
Yeah,
but
we're not saying that. We're just saying something.
But I can tell you this, that this week alone, I heard of 2 people that went to the doctor and they were inside of their 11th month. Okay, you only have 12 months to do a reconsideration. So they showed up with a month or less to go. Okay, one of them showed up with like days to go.
Yeah.
And so you got to the doctor with days to go before you're going to miss your deadline. These are, at minimum, 5-page narrative reports that take a lot of effort. And often doctors need some time, to write the reports. So if you wait till sort of like the last minute, and I'm not saying this person did, but if you are somebody that is thinking about waiting till the last minute, you could be up against it because these deadlines are hard and fast. So I'm sorry it happened here. I hate that.
Yeah.
Deadlines are just crucial.
Yeah.
I talk about that in the book, and she knows that too, but never miss deadlines.
Kim, yeah. We were just doing some fall clean out, and I was blowing stuff, and stuff just went in my eye, but I'm okay. It's there. I can see it. It's just a little fuzzy, but I know.
Not fatal.
And this one lady said that I was trying to wink at you.
Oh, cool.
I'm a rural carrier and was given a limited duty position for customer service. A clerk filed a grievance and their union went to my injury compensation HR person. She showed him my limitations. Oh no.
The HR person showed your union person your limitations?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's probably okay. Your union person is there to help you. If they know what your limitations are, they probably have a better job of helping you. In this case, I don't think I'd have a problem. I would not personally have a problem with a union person knowing what your restrictions are because their job is to help you. So I hope that's the case.
Carmen Rodriguez said, can I make a claim if my hands are hurting me for delivering mail?
Of course. If it's a legitimate
yes.
work-related condition, you can file a claim if it's within 3 years of you knowing it's work-related.
Granville, do you have a form for a statement?
Yeah, it's called an employee statement. I hope that's what you're talking about. At this website, breakingowcp.com, on the free downloads tab, there's an employee statement form that'll help you put together a nice statement.
Nikita says, I help my union members get their denials reversed.
Good job.
Great. That's
I really
the kind
appreciate
of people
you.
we like.
Yeah. That's really great. I like that.
Let's see. DOL usually gives 30 days for every request. It is time sensitive. Yeah, it is. All right, guys. I know we went a little. Did we go a little longer? I can't even see the.
Yeah, it's 9:14.
Yeah, so we went a little longer. We tried to get all these questions answered, and Chris wanted to go over all the things that supervisors need, should, supposed to follow certain rules and laws. So just to let you guys know, again, down at the bottom, right here, I pinned the 877 number where you can contact us. You can also send us a private message on our Wednesday night chats, or you can message me or Chris personally on our Facebook pages. And it's also pinned at the bottom below, where you can buy the book, give one to a steward, give one to supervisor, say, hey,
And most importantly, give one to a friend, because be a good friend and make sure your friends have this information.
Stacy says, I'm the only one in our office that's the least bit knowledgeable on injuries. Thanks for the help.
You're very welcome.
If you guys watch us every week, like Maureen on here, she's awesome.
You will be an OWCP powerhouse if you watch every week. I think
Maureen's with NALC. She's always on here. She's always giving advice and answering.
We really appreciate that.
People's questions. Oh, Nikita said COVID is considered an injury.
Yeah, COVID's covered. And I've got a picture of a document that I think actually came from the post office. But if you go to our Twitter page, @Fed Injury Center, you won't have to scroll very far to find it, and it discusses COVID.
Yeah. So everybody, we went over a little bit more because next week we will not be on. We will be traveling again. And
sorry about that. This is
it's okay,
funny time.
But what I will do is probably play one of our videos as those little parties, whatever.
Watch
parties. And so I'll find a really good one that a lot of you have been asking questions on. I think maybe like how to fill out a CA1 or 2, which is which, because a lot of you are asking, when do you fill out a hand injury, or can I fill one out? So I'll be posting that next week as a watch party. And yeah.
So I want to actually, before we end, let me say a thing about what we're doing. I think it's important for those of you that are new and don't know. You can't find doctors. There's not nearly enough. Okay, we discussed that, right?
Yeah.
So we are with Federal Injury Centers. Okay, Federal Injury Centers is a franchise company that recruits doctors to join the franchise, just like McDonald's recruits, franchisees to open McDonald's. So we're trying to grow our network of doctors that understand how to do what we teach them to do, which is everything here, right? So that when you show up, you get your claim accepted, at least by the second time, right? So we're doing that. We're trying to grow as fast as we can. We get people all the time saying, are you going to come to this state or that state? The answer is yes. We're going to come to all of them. Okay, that's the goal. The big plan is to be in all 50 states, and in some of them, like California, have multiple locations. I want you to know where we are right now. This is really important, okay? So we are in McKinney, Texas. McKinney, Texas is like 20 minutes north of Dallas, okay? And about a half hour from the Oklahoma border. We are just starting an office in Oak Cliff, Texas, which is South Dallas, with some really, really awesome doctors. We're super excited.
Very caring.
Very excited
Yes.
to have them. But they're still in the setup, the credentialing, the training. That's got to happen. You want to show up and your doctor already be an expert. So we're working on them. We've got an office that's opened up in Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, this one's really, really great. They've been through the training. They had their first patient that came in, got their claim accepted the first time around. That's just good training, and I know the trainer. So that's Memphis. So we got 2 Texas locations. We got the Memphis, Tennessee location here in Clearwater, Florida. We've got the office here, and that office is just crushing it every single day. That's like they just wake up and they crush it.
And they'll be opening 15 offices along the East Coast,
All the
going
way up
all
through
the
New
way
York.
up into the 5 boroughs of New York.
Yeah. So their
we're
goal.
going to come.
Yeah. Their goal is to open those offices in the next 12 months. And so that's awesome. There's going to be, 15 new locations. And who did I miss? Oh, Birmingham, Alabama. So we've got the location there. And same as Clearwater, just totally crushing it, all right? But they've been established. They've been doing this for more than a couple of years. They're well-trained. They are finely tuned machines, and they all end up that way. So we're working on it. I'm talking to a guy in New Orleans right now, so I'm hoping for the best out of that deal. And we're attending a convention coming up in the beginning of November where there are reportedly over 3,000 doctors from around the country that are going to be there, and we have a booth. And so we're hoping to recruit from there. And we're putting a lot of money into just marketing and promoting this thing. So I have this other Facebook page. I have like 5 or 6 of them. But I've got this one for the franchise. None of you needs to go there, okay? There's nothing for you there. It's just for recruiting doctors. But some joker went on there like 16 times and posted the most outrageous stuff, like political stuff, and I just don't do that.
I was like, what?
People are just unreal, so rude, and so we had to block this guy. But anyways, that was just a side note. We're doing everything we can to add locations. We know you need it. I talked to a guy who knows someone in Portland, so I'm going to talk to someone in Portland. He knows someone in Denver. I'm going to talk to someone in Denver.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So our doctors in Dallas have plans to open up in St. Louis as well. So we have big plans to give you more doctors. Okay. We hope to explode. That eventually we'll hit like a critical point where doctors are just like, oh yeah, shoot, we need to get involved in this.
Yeah.
So just so you know, that's something else is happening, and we're really looking forward to giving you doctors.
Okay. So yes, we did say COVID is covered as an injury. So, and if your supervisor is not wanting you to file, do the things and follow the steps that we said in the book.
It's the same. Yeah, just follow the same steps.
Yeah, I mean, COVID is COVID. You can't come to work if you're sick.
Yeah, and there's a mechanism for you to be off of work and be paid for 14 days. So go to my Twitter page and take a look at that form. It's been a while since I posted it because it was at the very beginning.
Okay, here goes. Everybody starts asking every state.
Yes.
We are coming
all of
to
them.
50 states, including Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. We will eventually get, 4 or 5 doctors in each state. We know New York and California, they need about 25.
But it's hard.
The size of the state.
Doctors are incredibly hard-headed, and I'm a little bit tough to work with too because I'm picky about who the doctors are going to be. I don't like greedy doctors. If you're all about the money, you can't work in my company. And if you don't have attention to detail, you're not willing to put in the work and write good narratives, you can't be part of my company. So there's, we have rules we have to follow. If you're not willing to do that, you can't be part of it. But they're hard-headed as well.
Yeah.
And they're hard to convince to do this. It's unbelievable. So, you know how hard it is to find a doctor. It's just as hard for me. But I'm working on it.
So, yes, you can message me, and don't post doctors other than Federal Injury Center doctors. Now, here's the thing that we're doing. If you know of a doctor that would like to become a part of our franchise and you tell us about them and they come on, they sign the franchise contract and the deal is sealed, you can get up to a $15,000 commission. You guys that are watching can get a $15,000, up to either $10,000 or $15,000 commission signed by this guy.
Yeah.
A real check being mailed to you.
And let's be clear, that is a referral fee.
Yeah.
For referring a doctor to me. Some people get on and go, oh, there it is, we found it. They're paying for referrals.
Yeah.
No.
It's a franchise.
It's not paying for you to go to the
Yeah.
doctor. It's paying for you to introduce me to one, okay, that signs up. And but you need to make sure that that's okay. If you're like out of work and you get a $15,000 or $10,000 check, that might be a problem for you. So
Yeah.
double check that because that's a personal deal for you. I'm just going to write checks.
So if those of you that want to give us the referral, all you got to do is give us the doctor's name and the city and state and his cell phone number or the office number and who we need to contact. Message me personally either on Wednesday night chats or my personal Facebook page or Chris's, and I will give you a number that the doctor can either contact me or we can contact them.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there, and we will, you can just follow up, and trust me, you'll definitely get your commission. It's real money. Christmas is coming. We would love to lock in some more doctors. So with that, I referred somebody. I believe my doctor would. Send them all over. Send me a private message, again, on Wednesday night chats or my personal page. A lot of you have my personal Facebook page. Send me a message, a name, doctor, city, and state. And the phone number. And then I will give you a phone number where they can personally reach me. And thank you. Yes, that's my ring. I'll be selling these soon in my Just So Cute boutique Facebook page.
That's
and
different.
Thank you for the compliments on my makeup. Put your information below. Unfortunately, I can't put my information below for the doctor to contact me. So just message us and we will get you the contact. I can't have that number just all around town.
Yeah, because like I said, there are some Looney Tunes out there that like to have a good time with us, so we're not going to invite some of that.
Thank you guys for watching, and for the people that had said today that they're new here and they love what we do. This is why we do it. We don't get paid for doing this, but
and we don't want to.
We don't want to get paid.
Don't take that
yeah.
anyway, but we don't want to. This is a free training that we love to do.
What's the name of the clinic? Which clinic? If you're talking about our franchise, it's Federal Injury Centers.
Yeah, Federal Injury Centers.
That's our franchise. And if you don't understand what a franchise is, look at McDonald's.
That's a franchise.
That's a franchise, but we're not going to be at every mile.
Yeah.
We're going to be in selected cities, and the doctor that wants to do this. And, you're so welcome. We thank you for watching us, guys.
Yeah, thanks for being here. And for those of you that are new, come back. Bring your friends with you. This is really important stuff. Workers' comp is not a sexy topic, okay? But it sure as heck is when you need it. Mm-hmm. So thanks for coming and thanks for learning.
Yeah, with that said, everybody, again, we won't be on next week. We'll be on the following week, and we will see you then with another topic.
All right, good night.
Bye, everyone.